Yalimadan, and welcome to a special episode of Four Chais, coming to you from Global Encounters in Dubai. My name is Riaz Patel, the creator and director of Four Chais. Our show brings together Smileys from all over the world, strangers at first, who through conversation experience honest, open, and much-needed connection. Usually we connect four people, but today's topic isn't just important, it's becoming a global crisis. Because of that, four just didn't feel like enough, so we've supersized the episode. Today's focus, the impact of screens on our Jamaat and the rising challenge of digital isolation. Everyone you'll hear from today is under the age of 35, and they come from all over the globe. As per our usual format, we will introduce our participants to one another with what we refer to as 20 questions. So for those of you in our studio, if any of the following questions apply to you, please use this gesture to indicate yes. If the answer is no, you do nothing. And please feel free to do the same at home. So let's begin. Who here sings in the shower? Who here knows how to cook? Who here can dance? Who here hates being dragged onto a dance floor? Who here was a naughty child growing up? Who here makes a great cup of chai? Who feels like they spend way too much time on screens? Who here grabs their phone within minutes of waking up? Who here is on their phone right up until it's time to sleep? When working or studying, who opens their phone without even realizing they're doing it? Who's ever looked around and realized everybody is on their phone? Who here feels lonely from time to time? Who here gets nervous meeting new people? Who here's ever pretended to be busy on their phone to avoid a conversation? Oh, wow. Next time any of you are on your phone, I will literally just keep talking. Who here thinks people only post the best parts of their lives? Who's ever felt worse about their own life after scrolling? Who struggles with their body image because of social media? Who's ever felt left out after seeing posts of people hanging out without you? Who deals with anxiety from time to time? Who here knows someone who lost their battle with depression by taking their own life? Who feels like notifications influence their mood? Who here wants more real in-person connection in their lives? How would you describe what it feels like, this problem? Because you are the only humans in the world who have ever had to navigate a life in the real world and a life in the screen world. How would you describe the problem?
It feels like you're living a double life in a sense where what you portray on social media and on your phone, it's always the good things, all of your successes, all of your, achievements that happen in life where the people that are on there, that's all they see. And you get congratulations from that. But in the real world, you have everything else, all the problems that you face with, everything that bad that happens in life, and you're sort of left to yourself and your small inner circle to deal with that. And that separation there, I think, is one of the biggest problems for me, because you see all of the positives. You post your best life and you see everyone else's best life, and it's always a want. It's, I want to get there, I want to have what they have, but it's never, you're never seeing the bad, and you're never seeing the journey that it took for them to get there even.
Even if you achieve some success in your early, career years, you have to keep on maintaining that image on social media, which is too much, to be honest, and it takes away the humanness out of your life. Like, even if I talk about my own self, like, yes, sure, I have high standards for myself, but then the society and the Jamaat and the people around me are always expecting, okay, what's next? What next award are you winning, or what projects are you doing? It's too much sometimes. I am not a robot. I can't be just working and working. But if on social media, that's how the algorithms work, right? If you don't post, you don't get visibility. So sometimes, I feel so pressured that I need to put content out there that I just feel like, this is not me. And I just feel so disconnected from the inside, because I too need a breather. I am a human at the end of the day as well. So it's not possible for me to just keep achieving and keep posting and keep creating content for people to follow. Yes, it's inspiring, but sometimes you just need a breather. And I think this is something that the digital world doesn't allow you to do so, because you have to keep your content engaging. You have to post about yourself and your work for followers to keep looking at your content. And it's necessary as well, because even if you have a physical if physical presence, but if you want if you want global accessibility, you need the digital platforms at the end of the day. So it's like a double-edged sword. Like, you can't avoid it, but then you need to learn how to maintain your mental health and not be consumed by the digital world. And it's hard. It's really hard. What you show on social media is not who you are in person. Not necessarily, you living the same life. It's not possible.
A lot of people come to me and they say they envy my life. I'm a traveler. I travel, alhamdulillah, so much, or whatever I can manage to do. What they don't understand is they're on a different chapter of their life than I am, right? And I told this to someone very recently. I think he was about 18 years old. A person who came up to me and said they really envy my life, and I've traveled, alhamdulillah, this much. And I said, you're on the 18th chapter of your life. I am on my 33rd chapter of my life. If you really want to do a fair comparison, you got to compare your 18 to my 18. And when I was 18, I was traveling once in 3 years, 4 flights. Very different story.
Yep.
So I think when you look at someone online, the key element to compare, if you do want to compare with someone, you shouldn't compare, but if you want to compare, you compare the chapters, you compare the similarities, right? And you would find out that probably they have more difficult backgrounds than what they are today. I think the challenge is that people are not asking themselves the tough question, which is how much has one person gone through to get where they are, right?
The backstory.
The backstory.
I mostly use from LinkedIn, and I see the many posts that my friends post on LinkedIn and share their experiences, and also share their like congratulations, I got this position, and I when I see these posts, I compare myself to them. Like see this friend that at the same age of me, she achieved many awards. Then I compare myself to them, like see you're in this stage and she is on that level, and I feel like no, you should go ahead and you should work hard.
Who here would like to describe their relationship with their screen? Who here could describe what that relationship is like with your phone?
So I feel like my phone is a part of my body. It's always in my hands. So if I'm not replying to you, it's because I don't want to. But I feel like I'm just always on my phone. As soon as I wake up, I'm like on it, checking what everyone's doing. Not that I actually even care. It's just habitual at some point. And sometimes I can like catch myself. Like I'm like, why am I doing this so much? But I'm so used to, it's like you're so used to like just having it. So sometimes I'm like not even doing anything and I'll just open it and I'm just like, oh, okay, nothing. And I'll do it again. And I'm just like, look, I don't even know why I do that, but I do that all the time.
You said you don't care what everyone else is doing, but I'm going to just challenge that. Is
Yeah,
that true, or like what do you think?
I mean, I care because it is something that I'm used to looking at all the time, because like your feed is there, right? So you're just scrolling and you're just like, oh, this person's doing this person. But I'm like, do I actually even care about this person, or that they're on this vacation, or that they bought this bag, or like, I don't. But I'm like looking at it because it's on my feed, and then I'm like, oh, did you know this person about this bag? I'm like, why am I like, this is not something that I actually care about, but because it's like always in my face, I feel like I begin to care about it when I don't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's constant like exposure.
So I use my phone a lot. It's from like morning till night, and I'm the one who replies very fast. I'm not the one who will say, yeah, I'll text you after 2 days, or I'll call you after 2-3 days. But I use social media too much also, because I'm in marketing and in writing too. So I'm always, scrolling reels and checking LinkedIn. I'm active on every platform. And once that I'm active on every platform, I also compare myself with them. Oh, how am I looking? Or where am I going? How am I dressed up? Am I looking nice or not? There's pressure constant, and there's then some loneliness also, and there's so much more. It's like we are, I have a lot of friends. I like to socialize. But once I text them, they are like, they're busy, or they don't have time for me. So it feels like I have friends, I have connections, I want to communicate through phone, but they're not available. So it feels lonely. Yeah, to not able to share something, to not able to express something. So it feels terrible.
Originally from India, but now I live in LA. And when I moved to LA, it was very beginning, and I was navigating my life. And loneliness was something where I wanted to meet people in real life, but I could see everyone on social media posting their film festivals, posting everything like what are they doing in their life and everyday stuff. But there were not many people who used to play like any sport or try to meet or get together. Like back in India or back in Bombay, things were different. Like every evening, we all friends come together, we meet and we chat and we have our fun time. But moving in LA, it wasn't the same for me. So that's where I started learning about myself during loneliness. Like I started writing like whatever I feel, and that writing really helped me to get through it. And that became like a thing that whenever I feel lonely, I start just writing, because that's something I just put things down on paper. And now I pick up my phone a lot while writing. So that the habit has gone bad, because no one is texting. I just pick up my phone, open it, see it, keep it down again. And I'm like, why am I doing this? That question comes again and again. Once what I did is I threw my phone away and I just kept it away the whole time. So that's the only experience I have.
I think for me, as someone in my early 20s, I think when I go on social media, the first thing that I look for is that little notification that pops up and says, someone liked your message, one person liked your message, or one person followed you. And to me, the way that I've come to terms with it is that my caveman era brain thinks of it as, oh, one new follower, one new friend has joined my clan. I must continue to gather that group of people. I think the big thing is honestly just that one number. If that number continues to grow, for me, that's my validation. That's saying that more people are accepting me for who I am, for what I do. I'm not pressured by other people posting. I post when the need arises, but I do see how many people have liked my post, and that becomes the recurring view that I pursue. So one post may have, 100 people liked your post. The next post that I'll do, I have to shoot for at least 125, then 150. So, but that also means that I need to meet 25 more people so they can be added to my network, right?
Who else feels like when they post, they check back again and again to see how many people liked it? So who's waiting for the likes?
I was reflecting on this, like as everyone was talking, and I feel like it's very app dependent also. For example, the first thing is I live away from my family, right? They're all in Mumbai. I'm outside. I've been living away for many years. And if I think of just WhatsApp, there's nothing more than just chatting on there. You know, like I use it 10,000 times a day, but it is the one way I get to talk to my family, or FaceTime, or, you know, any kind of communication app that I can, just to be able to keep in touch with them. And sometimes there's long times when I'm not seeing them, that is there. You know, like this is how you maintain the people or your village, which used to be right around you, and now it's across the world, right? So we're able to keep in touch and keep our village going across many countries. But then I also think about Instagram, and it's also love and hate both ways. Like I feel like I need that validation. I feel like, oh, maybe I'm not doing good enough. Maybe I need to do better, or this person has something I don't, and that makes me feel badly about myself. But sometimes it's also, I feel like I'm very creative, and if I'm not always in that space, I love to tell stories. So I'm using the story feature to tell stories about my life, right? Like sometimes if I'm making a trip or I'm going somewhere and I post in sequence and someone comes and tells me, hey, that's a great story sequence you just put up, right? It's just something small. It's like, I got to share my life with you in a way that I wanted to. So it's both ways. And then I'm seeing someone else's series and being like, oh, that one was much better. You know, like it's both ways.
I just wanted to add that, because a lot of people, like she said, that, I want to share my life and stories, but I feel that, sometimes people are so busy sharing things on social media that when we sit with a group of friends, they're all time taking pictures and posting stories and everything, and at a point of time I have to tell them, guys, just leave your phones, let's just be in the moment, live the moment. So also this thing has started happening a lot, that whenever you're even out with your friends, more than you are actually speaking to them, you're just taking out stories or posts to just post on social media to show people what you're going, like what you're living the life, rather than actually living your life.
The thing I wanted to add was also, quite a lot of times we don't share parts of our story or authentic selves because of the fear of rejection. And that plays a massive role in how you portray yourself in your day-to-day life. I know somebody mentioned about putting your real self out there. And putting your real self out there also then means showing all different aspects of your life, the different challenges, the different routes you've been in. And that not being accepted as the social norm that we live in on a day-to-day. We have our own influences, our own circles, our own families. Before, we used to be impacted by them, yes. But now people worldwide are watching you. If your profiles are public, people worldwide are going to be watching you. There are so many profiles and so many friends of mine who don't post anything on their public profile. That's just available for watching purposes, for scrolling and stuff like that. But then they have a private account where they would normally have about 20, 30, 40 people who they are comfortable enough sharing their own personal life with. That's where the real stuff usually is. But they're not happy to portray that outside, again, just because of their own fear of rejection. And that plays a massive role, obviously, psychologically also, because it then affects your dopamine levels, it then affects your own regular activities. And sometimes when you have a bad message starting early in the morning, or you're thinking about something or posting something early in the morning, and you don't get the reactions you want, that kind of can affect your entire day.
I think a lot has been covered, but one topic which I think has not yet been covered is setting boundaries. For example, there was a time when I was a bit over-addicted to Instagram, and one hack that I followed was I changed my Instagram password to something that can't be remembered, wrote it on a note, and every morning after I wake up, I log out from my Instagram and I log in after I come back from work. So I can focus on my work, and I log into Instagram only after my khane at 8 in the evening. So we can figure out small hacks that can work for us, and maybe that's how you can solve the things.
Who thinks that's a good hack? I've never heard that. That's brilliant.
I read it in a book, Make Time. So
Amazing.
it has been copied from somewhere, but it has helped me a lot.
That's amazing.
I would encourage, like everyone who's watching, everyone in this Jamaat, to take a good look at these phones. These phones are like the most destructive things, like devices in the world right now. And you know why I'm saying that? Because, okay, apart from isolation, digital isolation, we are also talking about navigating screens. So when it comes to navigating screens, it also comes to these phones, harming us physically. So when we are using our phones, so we're looking down, and our neck, it's facing downwards. So our postures are getting weird. I mean, we don't have I've seen 40% of people have weird postures, like their back and stuff. So it's funny, but it's true.
It's true.
It's true. These phones are really harming us physically. Our eyes getting damaged. Our eyesight, it's getting damaged. Moreover, when we are using our phones, there's this terminology of presence of mind. We're losing that. We're losing presence of mind. When we're using our phone, we're having a conversation with someone else. They're asking some question to us, and we're not able to focus on that because we're focused on phones. So there, we're losing our presence of mind.
How many of you are often on multiple screens at the same time? Okay, hold it please, and can we get a pan of that? Multiple screens at the same time.
One of the things I guess I just wanted to note is kind of how scary it is sometimes. So I have stopped posting myself on social media a long time ago. And I've been trying to distance myself from my phone more and more. And one kind of moment that struck me was, I think a lot of people experience this, but your phone won't be in your pocket, but you experience like a phantom ring, and you're like, oh wait, my phone's not even there. That, and then I realized once or twice, maybe once a day or twice a day, I would pick up my phone to look at the time and then put it down. And then 30 seconds later, I would realize I was looking at my notifications and I didn't even look at the time. And so I don't know if anybody else has experienced that.
Who else has experienced that?
There's an indirect anxiety that comes from screens that is not from me being on my screen directly, but I find myself getting nervous to do things out of fear that I might end up on somebody else's screen, because everything I feel like is being recorded and posted by somebody that, you asked the question earlier, who has to be dragged out onto the dance floor, and that's me because I'm not a dancing person, but also because I worry that some of the awkwardness that I feel might end up on somebody else's story, and I will, people will see me in that light. And it kind of goes a little bit back to showing not your full authentic self online, and there's a little bit of anxiety that comes from somebody seeing your authentic self through somebody else's story. So I find myself not putting myself out there in as many situations that I might want to do out of fear of being in someone else's Instagram post or whatever.
Who else feels that? I had never thought about that. Who else is aware as they go through the world with friends that they are possibly being recorded?
I think there's a lot of good points that we can all relate to. For me in particular, I actually don't use social media too much. It's pretty terrifying, I'd say. Like, I can relate to, you know, if you post something and then taken out of context, or they just see one clip and they don't know who you are. So it's like more anxiety inducing to be a part of social media. So I prefer to be not on it. That being said, I think there are some good things, but I do feel a lot of like anxiety and negatives from it. So that's why I prefer to be mostly off it.
Does the screen's impact, as the pressure of the screen, where does the anxiety come from?
I think that often we go to social media as an escape from whether it's loneliness or a source of stimulation, not unlike a drug, let's say. And so you get these feelings of stimulation and I guess the opposite of loneliness, but it's fake. And so you also get the like associated hangover, the associated down that comes with that. And I think that I'm not into the science of it, but I think that like when you overstimulate yourself and the way the ups comes with downs, and I think that is part of those anxious feelings that you often feel and that you can't necessarily understand what they're coming from, but I think it is related to those stimulations that come from social media.
And I think part of the anxiety goes a little bit back to what was being said earlier about the way that you present yourself and having like the fake accounts or the Finstas ads, and then you have the account that you try to present to the world. And I think another aspect of this is the fact that yes, we are around screens so much, we've also grown up with screens. And so at least for me, like I got my first social media account when I was 13 years old, and a lot of friends had it earlier. So not only have you grown up with that, but obviously growing up involves change, and you're not the same person you were when you were young, but the internet is forever. And so, you know, you have this image that has been, or that you presented of yourself when you were younger, which is not wrong, but different from what you present now or what you may want to present now. So even as you're going through and applying for jobs, applying for school, people tell you now like, oh, make sure you look at your social media, scrub your social media. And so I think anxiety can come from that as well, of, you know, this is a person that I used to be and they're not a bad person, it's just maybe not who I am anymore. And how do you grapple with that versus preserving your memories, but then also trying to present maybe this new version of yourself, or people who move or go through serious changes or whatever that is. I think anxiety can come from that. But I think another reason too is that, going back to the idea of social media and the internet as a highlight reel, is that a lot of that becomes very normalized, and it is very easy to, you know, you're scrolling, and like what you were saying about the hangover and the dopamine, you're scrolling and you see all of these things and it's like, well, everyone must be like that or everyone must feel like that. And that's normal, right? It's normal for people to look like how they look online. And it's logically, you know, of course, like, yes, it's a highlight reel. Everyone tells you that. You even say it yourself. But when you're constantly digesting that information, I think it can make it really tough. And I think the other part as well, last part, is that with social media, it's not just one aspect of the world of your life, it's a complete 360. Like we talked about LinkedIn. So it's like in your professional life and in your personal life and in your romantic life. Like every time you open Instagram, someone's married, someone's got a kid, someone's engaged, someone's graduating. And it's all of these really great things. And then you kind of can't help but be like, well, here I am scrolling social media. Like it can get very repetitive. And I think that can also add to some of the anxieties. And then also the fear of like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I know people are posting a highlight reel, but it seems like they've got their highlight reel figured out, but it's like I don't even know what goes on my highlight reel sometimes.
So when we were talking about anxiety, I mean, we've talked a lot about social media, but even apart from social media, the anxiety of having or not having any notifications on your phone, and you just keep on checking. So even if I go away from social media and talk about email, work, right? And then at the middle of the night, you receive an email and you want to really see what it is, right? And then for me, what I did was I turned off the notifications that after 9 p.m. I don't want to see my emails. But then the anxiety of not being able to see what I'm getting over there is something that kills you as well. And then you open up your inbox to check, oh, are there any emails or not? So I think when we talk about anxiety, that's also something that...
And I think a big part of the anxiety with like screens that comes from me is just like how you're perceived like on the internet. So I feel like in terms of like when you see other people, I think we all know, and I think a lot of people who are on social media know that their life isn't their real life. And at least when I see something, like I try my best to just be like, well, they're just posting that. So it's not like that's how their life is. Even if my head, like, there's no reason to even to go there. I like have this baseline understanding, but for some reason it's hard for me to understand that when other people see what I'm posting. Like in my head, I'm like, what if they're assuming this or what if they're assuming that, which is a very odd thing to think in your head, but I think it makes it even more anxiety inducing of like how you were saying, like, do you feel pressure to post all the time? I feel more so that I feel pressure to not post all the time, because when I do, I'm like, well, what if people are thinking this, and what if somebody's thinking this, and like how, like, you know, you move out of friends and things like that, or you're not in certain people's lives anymore, and you're like, well, what if they assume this about my life because I'm posting this? So I think more so it's like better to just not let anybody assume anything. And so it's like a funny, like, anxiety inducing thing of like another way. But then it's also like if you don't post, then you're like, am I not living up to the expectation that I should post? So I think it's like complicated in both ways.
So kind of picking up on a few points. So I think the first one is about scrolling. And for me, I find myself, I've set a timer on Instagram. I get a notification when I've been on for too long, and I always click remind me in 15 minutes. And I keep scrolling and I keep scrolling, and it's like, I know I'm never going to win the battle against the algorithm, but I keep going. And it's like I'm looking for to hear something that resonates with me. Like I'm using this as like, I want to hear some wisdom, or I want to feel like I didn't just waste this last hour. Like, can I at least get one nugget of wisdom or something like that? And then I find that because you're so used to sort of, you know, this scrolling and the kind of the drain of it all, you then kind of almost don't know how to then just interact with people when you're not through a screen. Like, you're so used to having that one layer of separation that I think that can be anxiety inducing when you then have to, you know, interact like face to face. And the second thing about the overthinking, I think with Instagram and with TikTok, there are always people telling you what to think or what you should think, or giving you an opinion on absolutely everything. So you're so overloaded with information that you can literally be in your head the entire time. And I think that really contributes to kind of anxiety as well.
I love what you said about searching to feel something. Who here feels sometimes when you're scrolling, you're searching for something, some feeling, but you don't know what it is? So, hand if you're searching for something often, but you don't know what the thing is.
I had this really interesting conversation with a bunch of people that I work with. We're all lawyers, and we were bonding over how we love watching cleaning videos, like watching people clean their houses, and we're like, this is so odd. Like, why do we enjoy this? And we sat there and we talked about it, and we were like, I think it's just feeling human connection. Like, cleaning your house is something everyone can relate to. And it's like this lady who works for Asda, and she's, you know, explaining her life and what she went through that day, and we're all sat there like, wow, that was amazing. And the girl that I was talking to, she's like, yeah, I think you just feel like a human connection. And it's so weird, like we're going onto social media to look for a human connection, like, you know.
Who feels like there is no boundary to work with screens? That for us, we would go to the office, leave the office. Now there is no boundary at all. Emails pop up in the middle of the night. Hold your hands. Who feels there's no boundaries when it comes to work expectations?
I am in the media industry and also in the event industry, and I do have a lot of my clients following me as well. And I don't think clients know boundaries at all whatsoever. And they will be messaging me at 9 p.m. saying, hey, can we have this tomorrow early morning or whatsoever? And I mean, for me, I really do want to, I mean, I also got married recently, so I do want to enjoy my personal life away from work. So I usually tend to not respond late night. But then I also see, oh, I've posted a story and the same client has seen me post that story. So I'm like, maybe now I'm bound to reply to them because they know I'm on my phone, I'm active. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I should just reply saying, okay, yeah, I'll get back to you in the morning or something like that. But I think even for me, I usually also don't have that, you know, the balance between personal life and work life. And I also have people who work with me over here, and they would also know that, I mean, we forget that other people have lives too away from work. But I mean, we just want everything so urgently. They were like, oh, we'll forget about it tomorrow. So might as well just send them a message. So it's not in our hands, it's for them to reply to. So yeah, I think that's one part, which is very important.
It is very important that there is an expectation, not just work, but family, friends, that there's an expectation of instant availability. Let me check in with you over here, front row. Is anything, I want to make sure, on any topic, anything that came up that you'd like to discuss or respond to?
هلا أنا عندي رأي مختلف شوي عن الكل تقريبا، لأنه أنا لما بكون عم أتصفح على الإنستغرام ولا على أي شيء بكتئب منه أوكي، بس يعني هو الحياة كلياتها بصراحة، يعني ما عم نحنا يعني هلا عم نقول إنه نحنا مش مرتاحين، بس نحنا مرتاحين هيك ونحنا مبسوطين بهي العزلة اللي نحنا عايشينها. هلا أنا رأيي يعني مختلف بإنه أنا لما أفتح الإنستغرام ولا أفتح أي تطبيق تاني بيطلع لي دايما الحرب، بيطلع لي دايما قصص مزعجة اللي هي بتخليني إنه ما أفتح الموبايل مشان هذا الإنستغرام. أوكي، بس أنا بضل حاملة الموبايل، رغم هيك بضل حاملة الموبايل مشان ما أتواصل مع أي حدا تاني. كمان هذا الشيء أنا مبسوطة فيه.
I want to say something that is different than what others have said. I want to disagree with most of. I am happy with the isolation I have because when I open the Instagram and see the war going on, I like to stay away from it and then maintain my phone, but not contact anybody.
When you are on your screen, is it fully to escape? Do you feel like everyone around you is doing the same?
All doing the same, and all of them is happy about it. No one is not happy.
Yeah.
So that's so everything now. All of them talking about it, but everyone going out and doing the same thing and opening the phone, and all's good.
That's very interesting. Like in Syria, the real world is very, very different. It provides an escape. Interesting. I appreciate that. Is there anything, because I do feel, again, I'm a parent, kids are younger, I hear a lot of people my age, I'm Gen X, definitely boomers, talking about why can't they get off their phones, not understanding the problem. Is there anything I'd like to ask any of you would like to say that you wish they would understand? People who did not grow up in the digital world, is there anything you would like to convey to them that you think they don't understand?
Yeah, I think one thing that people should understand, and it's building off of what you said when you mentioned that there's this battle that you're fighting, is it's worth understanding who the battle is against. And when you think about social media is free to us, and the reason it's free is because we're not the customer, we're the product. Right? And so there's these companies with the smartest people in the world and the smartest technology in the world that have engineered these incredibly intelligent systems to get us to consume this content, to be on these platforms, because that's how they make money. And so like there's simple things that you don't necessarily see that they're intentional, but most of us, our alarm clocks are on our phones. So the first thing you do is you pull out your alarm clock, and you're already looking at Instagram. Just because you're on your phone and the notifications are there. And so there's so many very intelligent ways that I actually deleted Instagram a couple months ago because I realized that it was bad for me. All of a sudden I started getting emails from Instagram telling me this person messaged. I've never gotten an email from Instagram in my life. And I keep clicking unsubscribe and it keeps sending me emails because there's systems that are designed to get us back in. And so it's kind of like, on one hand, you want your kid to change and to stop, but like if you're talking to a 12-year-old kid, like, are they really going to outsmart the smartest people in the world with the smartest technologies in the world? This problem is a little bit bigger than what your kid could realistically solve, and I think that's why it's hard to really, talk about solutions.
Put your hands in if you agree. If you agree, because by the way, I love that some of you are doing that instinctively. I love that because we don't have a gesture that says, "I agree, I hear you."
I think the big thing for me is that it's really hard to express how I feel to the older generation when I'm experiencing these same feelings when I'm speaking to the older generation. I notice adults starting to use their phones a lot like how I initially started to use my phone, being completely hooked on it, albeit the volume turned all the way to the max. But it's something that I struggle with trying to convey, and I think the issue, I love this topic, navigating being in this digital space, because this is something you can't really escape, right? I can't throw away my phone and say good riddance. I don't have a pigeon. I don't think I can transmit information as fast as I can without my phone. So I think the big thing is just thinking about where are we right now and what can we do to be able to foster those connections that are more in person, that are allowing people to express their true identity and be able to create those bonds that do last a lifetime, not the ones that you only have to show face for.
Yeah, I guess just like a quick add-on point, like I also think it's just so much the norm. So it's like how you were saying, like how can like students and like young adults who are like 12, 13 years old, who are like getting their mind shaped, that are surrounded by people that are on their phone, how are they not going to be on their phone? Like, I think a big part of it is just that people are scared, and also they just don't know how to challenge the norm. Like, I think when you're forming your identity and when you are just becoming more of a person, like you are influenced by the people around you. And now technology is so much more a part of our lives, so you're just echoing what you see in others. And so I think a big reason too, when parents are like, why can't you just do that? It's like, well, they also see their parents that are on their phones all the time. Yeah. So it's like you just echo what you see around you. I don't think it's ever an intentional thing. I think it's just kind of this norm, and it's just difficult to challenge that.
Hi, just two things. One, on the topic of making our adult generations, my parents and grandparents. I'm not completely endorsing, but just to make them understand, is the idea, while growing up, I didn't have phones, so I might be few of the older ones here, which is not Gen Z or whatsoever. It was radio sets. While growing up, I remember my dad and my grandfather being hooked to radio sets, right? And why? For multiple reasons. There's songs they would love listen to, news to catch up, something they're feeling somebody is talking to a radio jockey who don't know where in which part of the country, but they're able to relate. So handphones in this time, or screens, laptop, whatsoever, it's that on steroids, right? So it's all of that and way, way more. So imagine them being hooked to that radio sets, and today we are hooked to this. So it's different, but yet it's the same in that essence. One. Second, a brother from India highlighted a very beautiful point of how it's affecting us physically, not just Instagram and social media, but the screen usage, right? In today's generation, if you see, ADHD is one of the most common diagnosed, I don't know, what should I call that, a mental health issue, right? I know it is also one of the most misdiagnosed as well, but it is because our attention spans have gone so down, like incredibly down. Like if somebody's talking, all of a sudden, I realize the Gen Z, rather than hearing, they just want to talk. They want somebody to hear them, but they don't want to hear somebody else rather. So active listening, active conversation is all lost in the process because we are hooked to phones, we are hooked to those short stories, short clips.
I love that. By the way, it was kind of nice for none of us to be on our phones for the entire time. Like, there's a lot of nodding. If your heads are hurting, like literally there was a lot of nodding. Were you itchy? Who, because you were not allowed on your phones, who was actually like feeling a little itchy at some point for their phone? Who enjoyed being able to talk to one another without phones? And that's it. That is the first part of our series on Port Chais. This will be the first of a 3-part series addressing the topic of digital isolation. Part 2 will feature Ismailis who are over the age of 35. Parents, teachers, coaches, and other concerned adults watching younger generations navigate a challenge that the world has never experienced before. But because we want to do more than just raise awareness, in Part 3, we'll sit down with experts of all kinds to explore some real, tangible solutions to help this growing worldwide issue. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again for our other parts. Have a great evening. Thank you. Thank you all.